Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. After Jesus has been teaching, he's been sitting on a boat. Now they're taking the boat across the lake. They're going to the other side, and the disciples are taking Jesus with them. And you think about that phrase. As disciples, do we take Jesus with us? Do we take Jesus to work? Do we take Jesus with us to school? You know, what are the adventures that we're on, and do we take Jesus with us? Now, as they're out there, there's a storm. A furious squall comes upon them. And certainly, we all encounter that, right? We think things are just going to go along swimmingly, and then stuff happens, right? And just like us, the disciples panic, right? They don't know how to deal with the storm for some reason, even though they're fishermen and they've been used to being on the boat, but it's so furious, they don't know what to deal with it. So what's your answer when you're in the midst of a waterborne crisis? Is to go find a teacher? Really? And so Jesus is exhausted from all his preaching, and he's sleeping in the stern, and you know, he's with them, but they're frantic. It's the classic whine of people. Do you even care if we die, right? Have you ever said anything like that to the Lord, where don't you even care what I'm going through? God cares, but it may be the thing that you need to go through. And sometimes we do that, right? And so Jesus gets up and he speaks a word. He preaches. Jesus preaches to the wind and rebukes the storm, and it just ends. Now Jesus turns to his disciples, and the words that he says to them are words of the law. Why are you so afraid? And do you have no faith? These words, as you read them, they should cut through your heart. How often do we let the fear of what's going on in this world cut right through us? Slice us up and chop up our faith. Do we trust God or not? And so when Jesus asks the question, do you have any faith? He's speaking to you. When he asks the question, why are you so afraid? He's speaking to you. And we all know, as we've been going through things over these past couple of years, how much fear has been pumped into our lives. And we have wavered in our faith. So, you know, part of the question, though, is that the next thing that happens is that after he does this, they're all like, oh my gosh, who is this Jesus? He even speaks to the wind and the waves, and they stop, and they are terrified. And are we more terrified of Jesus than we are of the craziness of this life? Will we let God take over our storms? You know, what's funny is they're still clueless about who Jesus is. They're wondering, who is this guy who speaks to the storms? Don't be like that. Know that Jesus has power over the storms in your life. Thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.